guys at the same time. Hi, my name is Natalia Kaoru. People call me Nati, Natalia, Natchan. I'm 26 years old and I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I'm now here living in Japan. Bueno, esta parte la voy a decir en español porque es súper importante que lo sepan las personas, sobre todo en Argentina, y es que mi comida favorita es el asado. Obviamente la carne argentina es la mejor del mundo, así que para las personas que entienden español, y seguro Vicky igualmente pone los subtítulos, todos vayan a comer asado a Argentina. はい、最後に今日本に住んでいるんですけれども、日本の皆さんと、世界中の皆さんにぜひ日本人で海外で生まれ育った私の今までのライフスタイルを知りたいと思う人はぜひこの動画を見てください。はい。
So this week I have my amazing friend Natchan with me today. She's lived in South America, but now she's traveled everywhere and finds herself in Japan today. So without further ado, let's welcome Natchan. Welcome!
Hi.
How are you? Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you very much for your time.
Why don't we get straight into it and let everyone know where you grew up, what were you like
Sure.
when you were little?
Well, I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I spent most of my life there for around 23 years and I'm now living here in Japan. I would say that I was always a very energetic girl.
Still is today.
Yeah, I still am. Actually, I did whatever I want to do. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of freedom.
Yes, I don't know. I feel like Asian people have this kind of stereotype that parents told them what to do or
Yeah.
who they had to become.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
my parents were like, oh, so you just do whatever you want to do.
That's
You
like-
go wherever you
yeah,
want to go.
yeah.
So I think that was a big, I don't know, like,
Influence in your life.
I think it was thanks to that I am here now today. And I don't know, I was born and raised in Argentina, but the first time I actually traveled here to Japan was when I was around 7 months old.
Oh, really?
I wasn't even 1 year old. And I came here to Japan around 1 to 2 years. The first time I traveled alone, it was the US and I was just 13 years old. I then did this exchange program with Boston. I
Yeah.
also went to university in Argentina, but I didn't exchange here in Japan. That's where I met you.
That's how we met.
So I would say that, yeah, I was really energetic, but it was all thanks to my parents that gave me all that freedom.
How did they find themselves in Argentina?
Well, my father, he was born and raised in Argentina. My mom, she's Japanese. My father came here to Japan, and that's when they met.
Aww.
And somehow my mom ended in the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was just like a common Japanese girl. Like she was born and
yeah.
raised here in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she knew about Argentina, like its existence, but
Right.
my father, he was born and raised in Argentina, but his parents were Japanese, so he's actually Japanese. So that's why what helped him to get it, I don't know, involved with my mother, and they went to Argentina, they got married, and that's where my brother and I were born. So.
Oh, there you go. And are there a lot of Japanese people in Argentina? I know in Brazil there's quite a big community.
There are, but not as much as in Brazil or Peru.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this Japanese community. I also had Japanese friends there. But I will say that most of the Japanese people I know are from that were born and raised here in Japan, and because of their parents' work, they went to Argentina, and they're now here.
So when you grew up, what language did you speak at home?
I speak Spanish with my father and Japanese with my mom. So it depends who you are talking to. Actually, I have a brother and we speak in Spanish, but if our mom comes here to the conversation, then we turn it to Japanese. Or, for example, I speak Spanish with my father, and my brother also speaks Spanish with my father, but my father with my mother, they speak in Japanese.
Wow, so it's very multilingual. You have to switch all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I grew up in that way, so it's kind of it's kind of common for me.
Interesting. Is it common for like a lot of Japanese people in Argentina?
I think it's more of a Hara family, especially in our home, as I told you before. Not all my cousins speak Japanese also. So yeah, I think I was really lucky that my mother always talked to me in Japanese and my father in Spanish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I went to bilingual schools where I was taught in Spanish and English, and that's why I also
perfect.
here. So
that's a great segue to then talk about Boston, because you went to Boston as well, and I think for a lot of people who want to improve their English, especially, well, everywhere in the world, they usually do some sort of language school in the US, the UK, wherever. So maybe since she speaks so many languages, why don't we talk about your experience in Boston in Japanese? So if any Japanese viewers are watching, they can learn from your experience as well.
ボストンですね、まあ、正直ランゲージエクスチェンジとはいえ個人的には割となんか夏休みで行った感覚で、なんか英語の勉強したいとか、まあやっぱり幼稚園からもずっと英語の勉強自体はしてきてたので、まあ自分的には休みとかも遊びに行った感覚で、
それが一番いいかもね。
ただやっぱりまあ行ったらそれはそれもちろん授業を受けてましたし。で友達はまあ結構日本人の方の友達が多かったんですけど、みんなはちゃんと英語の勉強してますっていう感じで真面目に勉強してる中、私がずっと買い物とか
いいな、羨ましいだよね、みんな
ふざけてる人がいるみたいな感じだったんですけど、でもそれもそれすごくいい経験になって、実際そこで知り合った人たちとも今でもすごい仲良くて、
なるほど。
で日本人でもやっぱり日本とアルゼンチンってすごい遠いじゃないですか、何より。でもそれでもアルゼンチンに遊びに来てくれたりとか、
そうなんだ。
ただ実家が神戸にあるんですけど、まあ、神戸にも遊びに来てくれたりとか、今でもすごい仲良くて、なのでまあ言語のその勉強っていうよりかはその人としての成長はすごい大きかったのかなと思っていて。
まあそうだよね、エクスチェンジでもそうだし、この、まあ、言語の勉強でも、まあ、遊び半分勉強半分とりあえずいろんな人に会ってこう友達を作ったりとかも、
いろんな人に会って結構ラテンアメリカの人も多くて、
あ、そうなんだ。
もともと私一回引っ越してるんですけど、一番最初のルームメイトがベネズエラの人で、
そうなんだ。
なんかよりによって同じスペイン語みたいな
そうだよね、逆に。
でもすごい仲良くて、で2回目のそのシェアハウスっていうか、まあルームメイトとかは、まあ、中国の方とあとカナダの人と、まあ、そこにいろんな日本人とかもいて、
そうなんだ。
なのでいろんな国の人と、まあ、出会えたことに関してはもうそこでしかできないことなのかなと、ね、英語でビジネスの勉強したりとかっていう
なるほどね、
授業もあって、そっちをメインに受けてたのかなっていうイメージはあって、
学校であんまりこう教えない英語みたいな。
そうだね、
触れてない。
結構私が気に入っていたのがTED Talk、
私も大好き
の授業があって、もうそれひたすら見て自分で実際どういうふうに、まあ、コミュニケーションを取ったりとか、テーマを決めてそれをプレゼンしたりとか、
それ普通に楽しそうだよね。
そうそれがすごい結構一番良かったのかなっていう。
ちなみに何のトピックについてプレゼンしたの？
でもそれこそ私はもう海外に住んでいる、まあ、例えば私みたいにアルゼンチン生まれアルゼンチン育ちだけをもっと旅行したいとか、まあ、自分の国に限らずもっと世界に出たい人に対してプレゼンをやって、まあ、まさに今やってるような感じなんだけど、
そのプレゼン聞きたいんだけどYouTube とかにあるのか？
いやない残念
その時に出会った日本人の友達がもちろん日本に住んでるけど、その時もすでにこう日本に帰りたいって思った？
どうなんだろう、なんか結構日本に住むのかなとか住みたいなって思ってたのが大学の時で、まあ、実際ボストン行ってたのも大学の時なんですけど、まあ、その時には明確に日本がいいっていうよりかはアルゼンチンを出るっていうのはもともと決めていて、ただそれがその行き先が日本になるのかアメリカになるのかどこになるのかっていうのは明確に決めてなくて、
そうなんだ。
で実際それを、まあ、日本だなって思ったのが多分まあ慶応行ってた時なのかなっていう。
そうなんだ。 for those of you who didn't understand Japanese, that's not a problem. We will talk about something that she brought up, which was, when did she know that she wanted to come back to Japan? And you mentioned that because you were always thinking about leaving Argentina,
yes,
but then not really sure exactly where you're going to go. So tell us about how you went from, okay, I'm going to get out of Argentina to coming to Japan today.
Well, actually, I always love to travel, so I always had this feeling about wanting to be somewhere else besides Argentina.
Yeah.
When I was in Boston, I actually knew what it was to live outside Argentina. I met a lot of people, and that's when I decided I want to actually work or, I don't know, live abroad.
Yeah.
But then it was when I did my exchange program to K University that I decided I wanted to be here in Japan, not only because I really like this country, but as a Japanese person, I felt like I need to know my roots or where I came from. So I thought that after graduating university, it would be a good, I don't know, like, not option, but it will be a good possibility to live here in Japan and actually know more about myself.
So then, once you came here, what did you learn about yourself so far?
So far, I've been here for around 3 years now.
Yeah.
One thing that I know for sure, when I was in Argentina, a lot of friends of mine were like, "Oh, you're so Japanese."
Oh, really?
And yeah, I don't know why, because when I was here in Japan for, I don't know, vacation, all people were, "Oh, so you are so non-Japanese."
Yep.
So it was quite, I don't know, I thought a lot about it, and people say me I was Japanese, and other people say I'm so non-Japanese. And coming here to Japan, I actually realized that I'm both. I mean, I was born and raised in another country, so of course I have this personality like for non-Japanese people, but actually living here, I realized there are a lot of things that I have in common with people that were actually born and raised here in Japan.
Yep.
So I learned that it's not that I'm either Japanese or non-Japanese. I can be both sides at the same time. So I think that's quite cool, because it was something that I really thought about it. I mean, I really didn't know where I come from, so how should I identify myself? But I think this experience helped me a lot to know more about it.
I had exactly the same experience, where if you grow up somewhere and then you speak a different language, your parents are from somewhere, but then they're somewhere else, and people are always saying, who are you? If I say Canadian, some people were like,
really?
But you don't look Canadian. That's untrue. Like, lots of Canadians look like me. But anyway, for some people in China, they're like, you're not Chinese.
Yeah.
I haven't really come up with a term yet. Like, I call myself Chinese Canadian.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel all sorts of things. Like, if I'm in Japan, there's part of me that act more Japanese, like to be more polite and to be more.
Sure.
So I don't know who I am. I'm just
still looking for ourselves. Well, actually, there is one expression that my father uses a lot and I really like. It's like, here in Japan, when you have, I don't know, your father is from one country and your mother from another country, they say you're half. I don't know, half Japanese, half Argentinian. When my father says that, I really believe it is that way, that you are not half one thing and half another, but you are double.
Yeah.
So
that's such a
that's how
powerful.
I feel right now. I always feel like, I don't know if I'm Argentina and I'm Japanese, I have to choose. People would have, are you going to marry an Argentinian person or a Japanese person? I'm like, I don't know. When I was in Argentina, they were like, oh, you're so Japanese, you have to have good grades, or I don't know. Here in Japan, they were like, oh, you talk a lot, you're Argentinian. But once my father told me about this expression of being doubled, I think it's exactly that way. You don't really have to choose, you can just be both of them, and that's perfect.
Then when you grew up in Argentina, did you have people like you around? Did you have people who understood?
No, I didn't. So that's, I think, it is what it kind of dismotivates me. I mean, I had my brother who was in the same situation, but I didn't have any friend who was like born and raised in Argentina, but with Japanese roots. So, and in school, in my class, I was the only Asian. Even in university, there were any Asians. So
Oh wow.
There was no one that I can actually talk and feel like, oh, we are the same.
Yeah.
I always felt like a different person. And I think that's one of the strengths that I have right now. Like in that moment, I felt like, oh, I'm so different. Why I'm not just Argentinian, or why I'm not just Japanese. But I think that it is because of that I'm now who I am. So.
Yeah, I really agree. Because lots of people say, oh, the things that you're insecure about usually is your strength. And what's making you different.
I think it's all about stereotyping, but if you know how to handle it, how to just admit that you are that way, then
makes life so much easier as well.
I mean, I cannot change where I was born, or I cannot change the fact that my parents are Japanese. So
exactly.
I just have to take it.
Yeah. And did you have anyone you looked up to while you were growing up in Argentina, wanting to find who you are and what you want to be?
My brother, he was always my role model.
Really?
I mean, we went to the same kindergarten, and until university, we have all the same, like we went to the same kindergarten, same elementary school, high school, university. We studied the same university.
Yeah.
He also did this exchange program to K University.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we have the exact.
So the little sister following big brother's footsteps.
He was always my role model. I mean, I never told him about that, so I really hope he doesn't see this video. But yeah, I would say my father, he was always a really successful person. He loves what he does, so he was really successful. But in terms of that went through my same lifestyle, then my brother, I think he's the most close person. So he's the closest person that I have. And I think that because he's my brother, I don't know, he understands what we are going through. So,
any stories of when he did something and you thought, oh, I must be like him and I should try this?
Well, going to Keio University was actually before going to Keio University, actually when I thought I wanted to go to Keio University was because I thought I wanted to work here in Japan. But even though the university that I graduated there in Argentina, it is really a known university in Argentina, nobody knows it here in Japan. So you need to go to, I don't know, either an exchange program or to the master here in Japan. And that's why he also did this exchange program to Keio University.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's the path. So I just followed him everywhere. He's working here in Japan right now, and I'm working here in Japan right now. I kind of trying to be different, like from my brother, but I didn't realize we are just following. I'm just always following him, and maybe that's why I look up to him so much. He really have this, I don't know, life I always dreamed about, like having a good job, getting married, having a child, having a good hobby. He takes pictures, he takes photos as a hobby, but it is quite serious. I mean, her pictures were displayed in Hikarie.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And in different places, so it's quite more than a hobby.
Wow.
And I don't even have a hobby, so so yeah, I don't know, I hope I someday can become a little more closer to what he is right now. So.
Interesting. Does he have any plans for the kids to grow up bilingual or anything?
Yeah, actually we talked about that. I think they will treat his child as a bilingual. The person he married, she's Japanese, so I think the baby girl or boy, I don't know, but the child will be growing both Japanese and Spanish. Maybe mainly in Japanese because, well, she will be living here in Japan. But he talked about teaching her also Spanish. I think that's quite important.
Yeah, for sure.
I myself, I think I will be always talking to her in Spanish. So.
Let's talk about Keio in a little bit more detail. because that's kind of one of the big turning points in your life where you came to KO and then you decided in the end you'll come and work here, right? So how did you enjoy it?
Yeah, actually, being here in KU University was the first time that I was here for more than 2 months. I always came here to Japan but just for vacation, for summer vacation, so it was like 1 month and a half.
Yeah.
And being as an exchange program here in KU University was the first time that I actually felt like living here in Japan, getting to know people.
Yeah.
I don't know, having my own place.
Yeah.
So I really think that was a turning point. I also learned about not only the good points, but also the pressure that you feel about living here in Japan. But I really believe it was a good experience to know more about myself, not only to get to know 2 different people, but to actually know how is it to live here in Japan. So I think that it was then that I decided after graduating I would definitely come here to Japan.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Like when I was thinking about going to Japan for exchange programs, I had all these almost like fantasies about oh, Japan, the food is so good, this and that, like everything. I'm so excited. Once you go there, you see that it's not perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow it makes it even more interesting.
Yeah.
Because then you realize you're going deeper into the culture, you're learning more about people and who you are.
Yeah.
Which is, I find, really interesting.
Even though if it's not all good aspects of it, if you know about it, then I think it's really worth it to step into it.
Yeah, yeah. So I also wanted to ask you, what are some of the positive things that come to you by growing up multicultural, speaking different languages at home? And maybe this is a good part to do in Spanish and probably English. Probably in Japanese as well, actually. I want more people to hear this. Anyway, we'll start with Spanish.
Creo que haber crecido en una familia en donde te enseñan diferentes idiomas, en mi caso aprendí japonés con mi mamá y español con mi papá. Y también, bueno, obviamente estudié inglés en el colegio, así que el hecho de haber crecido en un ambiente en donde constantemente estuve en contacto con 3 idiomas diferentes me ayudó no solo a hacerme amigos y a conocer gente de distintos países, sino a pensar de una forma diferente y tener una diferente perspectiva en cuanto a todo lo que me toca. Tener una mente más abierta, tratar sobre todo de entender mucho a la gente. Tal vez si me hubiese criado en un país en solo un idioma no hubiese tenido esta forma o esta personalidad de tratar de entender o de conocer mejor a personas que piensan diferente a mí. Así que en ese sentido creo que fue una gran herramienta que se me brindó para crecer no solo como persona, sino ahora también en el trabajo. El hecho de estar usando distintos idiomas o, no sé, día a día encontrarme y conocer gente que viene de distintos países, que piensan diferentes, tienen distintas religiones, y no tomarlo como es alguien diferente a mí, sino obviamente todas las personas son diferentes y aún así encontrarle la importancia de conocernos a cada uno y poder respetar lo que piensa cada uno y obviamente también poder hablar y decir qué es lo que piensa uno, cuáles son sus opiniones y encontrar algo mayor y crear algo que realmente valga la pena en base a eso. Well, actually, as I was saying, I feel like growing up with different languages or in different countries. I mean, I was born and raised in Argentina, but here in Japan with Japanese family, and they have so different cultures. So it really helped me to understand better, or at least try to understand better, different people like with different backgrounds, different cultures, or even religions. I became a very open-minded person because of that. And I think it was thanks to what I actually experienced myself of not knowing who I am or feeling like a different person or different from everyone wherever I went. So it really shaped who I am, but also it helped me to know how should I speak to different people, or I don't know how to approach them.
Yeah.
It would be like try to understand their feeling, or for example, if it's a non-Japanese person living here in Japan, I know how it feels to actually be outside us. So trying to be kind to everyone in that way.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I went through something similar as well, is because there's so many ways of doing the same thing, and there's so many ways of saying similar messages, but we all do it in different ways.
Yeah,
so
sure.
always to keep an open mind that maybe, for example, I see this a lot, is people who are learning English, they haven't learned all of the tricks of being soft. Like if they want to say, if someone asks them at a restaurant, do you want another Coke or something? And a lot of people's immediate no, and that sounds so shocking to someone who's a native English speaker who hasn't learned another language.
Direct?
Yeah, why are you so direct? Okay, okay, I get it. But to them, they're just nervous, and they're just trying to say, oh no, I don't need another one, right? So even small things like that, you realize that there might be a lot of misunderstanding in this world, and you probably should give other people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes
Of course.
it might look one way, but that's not what they intend to do. Right?
Of course, I really believe that being an outsider, it is, I don't know, people always think about it as a negative term, but I think that there's many things that you only know because you are an actual outsider.
Absolutely agree. Yeah. Now I wanted to ask you about whether you feel like you have different personalities when you speak different languages, because lots of people have that. But some people, I think you're quite similar in, well, English and Japanese. I don't know about Spanish. So tell me more about that. Do you feel like you're a different person?
I don't feel like I have different personalities right now. I did have when I was a kid, because I wasn't really good at Japanese. So when speaking in Japanese, I felt so shy, and I was so kind and shy, and people were like, "Oh, you're such a good and nice girl," and then I would speak Spanish. Oh, you're
that was all fake.
It did happen a lot when I was a kid, but not right now. I feel comfortable in either Spanish, English, or Japanese. So I try not to change myself a lot. There are some times that, of course, I maybe have different personalities, but it's not maybe because of the language, but because of the person that I'm actually talking to.
Agreed.
I think it's different if I talk to someone who is, I don't know, multilingual or multicultural like you do, or a person that was born and raised in some country. I don't know, my perspective about that person is different, so that's why the different personality comes out. But I really don't believe it's because of the language right now.
Yeah, I think you are one of the people who really clearly, you're very similar between the different languages, which I thought was very interesting. And I think it's right, like you said, some people are just more timid because they are still unsure of
about their
themselves in that language. And the last question I want to round off is, after going through all of this and evolving through all of this time, where do you want to go next, and how do you think your future will look like?
I don't have a certain future. I really don't know. I just know that I want to be a successful person. I don't know if here in Japan or outside Japan, it really doesn't matter. I just want to make use of this full experience that I had, the personality that I got, all the experience that I had since I was born in Argentina up to now that I'm here living in Japan, and use that not as just saying I'm this kind of a person, but use that as a strength. I mean, I feel like one of my main strengths is not only the fact that I can speak 3 languages, but the fact that I experience living in different cultures, in different countries. So yeah, I would say that my end goal will be becoming a successful person, but not only as a business person, but just as a person, you know, like, I don't know, getting to know more about different people, being proud of who I am, and knowing and actually believing that I'm a strong person because of that.
Yeah. So any tips for people who want to become stronger, more confident in themselves and knowing more about other people? How do they start?
I think that the most important thing is to step out of your comfort zone. I know it is scary at the first time, but you have to go and try to live in another country, talk to people, even though if maybe you're not good at English, or here in Japan you're not good at Japanese, you just to take that step and go.
Yeah.
And then it just flows, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I was constantly thinking who I want to become or what I want to do. It's just the first step, and then you just get used to it. It becomes something that is obvious for you. So
Yeah.
even when I went with my Argentinian friends to Spain, well, they are from Argentina, and people would talk to them in Spanish and then turn to me and talk to me in English. And we were just talking in Spanish.
Right.
So. But even though you have that kind of experiences as well, again, from stereotyping, it really opens up your mind. I got to know different places, and I always travel as a tourist, like trying to get to know the most common places. But one of the activities that I liked the most, it happened actually in Barcelona, in Spain. We did this free walking tour about street art.
Oh, really? Yep.
And the free walking tour usually lasts around 2 hours, hour and a half. We were like 7 hours, like seriously.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the guy was so excited. I mean, he was British.
Oh, yeah.
And he went to Spain and he fell in love with Spanish art, and then he just stayed in Spain. He was so excited and go, oh, and this one and that one.
Oh, wow.
And I really learned a lot, not about street art, but about Spanish culture. And I used to travel a lot, but I realized that traveling and trying to get to know the culture is quite
Very
different. Yeah. So yeah, that happened around, it was actually before going to KS, so it was around already 5 years ago. But I believe that was the most interesting part about traveling. That not just going to the place, but actually stepping into it and trying to get to know the culture, the people, food, whatever. But not just being there, and that's it.
Any tips for people who want to get to know a culture but don't really know how to do it?
I always believe they have to get lost.
Oh, good one. That's a good one.
Get lost, go approach to local people, ask for their advice, and then you not only get to travel to more places, but if you're lucky, then you try to make new friends.
Yeah,
So
yeah, agreed.
I feel getting lost is the most, I don't know, interesting part. It's kind of exciting, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, where am I? So it can be quite scary, but I think that's the way you know that city the most. So. Actually, the person that I admire the most is my mom, because she was born and raised here in Japan. She just speaks Japanese, she cannot speak English. And then she got married with my father, and she was in Argentina, like, wait, what, where?
Yeah, exactly.
And she didn't even know how to say hello in Spanish, so it was around 30 years ago, so it's not that you have like the internet right now. So I think that as a woman, she's the most brave person that I know. Like, that's the clear example of going to somewhere that you don't know, getting out of your comfort zone. She didn't know anything about Argentina, what it was about living there. She didn't have any family or friends there, and still she's the person that she's right now. So yeah, I think that's the first step is the most important one.
Agreed. And it seems like your family has really been the roots of how they've supported you, and you've seeing how they've grown.
It's not that I told her, I told them every day that, but
I hope they all see this because you have great things to say about them. Seriously, I hope the whole Hara family sees this.
That's quite embarrassing.
Don't be embarrassed. I had such a great time. Thank you for sharing all of this with me. I really enjoyed it. And I hope everyone else also enjoyed this very interesting talk. If you don't have people like that, this is a great way to learn about people who grew up in multicultural families and what that meant for us. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you next time.